Look, as you all know, National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan is in Israel today. He just wrapped up a full day of meetings, including one with Prime Minister Netanyahu. Jake's meeting with the Prime Minister focused on the progress we've made in the region. That means ensuring the Lebanon ceasefire continues to hold, that we continue to engage with all Syrian groups to establish a transition toward an independent and sovereign Syria, and most importantly, that we continue to make progress toward closing a hostage release and ceasefire deal in Gaza so that the hostages, including Americans, can be reunited with their families, so that civilians in Gaza can receive humanitarian assistance that they desperately still need, and so that this war can come to an end. Jake will now travel to Doha and to Cairo to continue these efforts. His travel, of course, coincides with that of Secretary Blinken, who is traveling to Jordan and Turkey, making clear our commitment to a Syrian-led transition process so that the Syrian people and their aspirations can be realized. The President is being regularly briefed on all these meetings and remains in close touch with his national security team as the situation in Syria continues to develop, and it does continue to develop. Tomorrow, he's going to speak virtually with his fellow G7 leaders. They will discuss a range of issues. Our shared support to Ukraine, which comes, of course, after the United States dispersed $20 billion to a new World Bank fund that will provide economic support for Ukraine as part of the $50 billion G7 Extraordinary Revenue Acceleration Loan effort. And that, of course, I think, as you all know, leverages income earned from frozen Russian sovereign assets and increasingly puts the cost of war on Russia with no burden to the taxpayer here in the United States. We're going to continue to explore ways to make maximum use of those assets, by the way. And I'd note that also today the President approved a new security assistance package for Ukraine that will provide them with additional air defense, artillery, drones, and armored vehicles. It's the 72nd such drawdown package announced by the United States, and as the President made clear, we're going to continue to provide additional packages right up to the end of this administration. I think G7 leaders can also be expected to discuss ongoing developments in the Middle East, of course, how we're helping Israel defend itself against active threats, and how we're all working towards that Syrian-led process we talked about. Now, I'd also be remiss if I didn't just take a moment to highlight an important milestone in our efforts to keep faith with Afghan allies. As of today, the State Department has issued 76,000 special immigrant visas for Afghan partners and their families, surpassing the number of SIVs issued by all previous administrations combined since the program began back in 2009. They did this by surging staff, by leveraging new technology, by consolidating some cumbersome processing steps, and working hard to verify in better ways applicants' employment status. And of course, we've requested from Congress more visa numbers so that we can continue to do that. Now, finally, I just want to add a few comments on the reports of drone activity here on the East Coast, particularly in and around New Jersey. We have no evidence at this time that the reported drone sightings pose a national security or a public safety threat, or have a foreign nexus. The Department of Homeland Security and the FBI are investigating these sightings, and they're working closely with state and local law enforcement to provide resources using numerous detection methods to better understand their origin. Using very sophisticated electronic detection technologies provided by federal authorities, we have not been able to, and neither have state or local law enforcement authorities, corroborate any of the reported visual sightings. To the contrary, upon review of available imagery, it appears that many of the reported sightings are actually manned aircraft that are being operated lawfully. The United States Coast Guard is providing support to the state of New Jersey and has confirmed that there is no evidence of any foreign-based involvement from coastal vessels. And importantly, there are no reported or confirmed drone sightings in any restricted airspace. Now, that said, we certainly take seriously the threat that can be posed by unmanned aircraft systems, which is why law enforcement and other agencies continue to support New Jersey and investigate the reports, even though they have uncovered no malicious activity or intent at this particular stage. While there is no known malicious activity occurring, the reported sightings there do, however, highlight a gap in authorities. And so we urge Congress to pass important legislation that will extend and expand existing counter-drone authorities so that we are better prepared to identify and mitigate any potential threats to airports or other critical infrastructure, and so that state and local authorities are provided all the tools that they need to respond to such threats as well. Now, tomorrow, there's a little thing called the Army-Navy game. We wish both sides a good game. We thank them for their service now, of course, at these service academies, and for their service in the future. We don't officially take sides here at the National Security Council, but go Navy, beat Army.